Well, Quentin, how are you? Once again, two meetings in a day.
How you doing, sir?
Oh, just fine, just fine. Thanks for coming.
No problem.
We'll see who else shows up. It's not. I'll wait a couple of minutes so
Okay.
you can go offline or whatever you want to do. Okay, well, this may be about all we get. I see that Jordan is here, so hello to you. And Quentin is here, so thank you all for coming. This has been kind of an experimental semester with the video chats, and I have enjoyed them. We may go at, a route maybe more like a hybrid class next semester, but I thought I'd go over, let's share the screen and go over here to kind of where we are. Here we are at the end of April 23rd, 24th, or Chapter 19, we have the regular type things, and there's Victor. Thank you for coming. The Chapter 19 and the Mind Tap things, and course evaluation is open now, so you can do that. Now, I'll put this one thing in here. This is on Mind Tap. I have not done it, but I thought it would be good. We can see it says video activity and submit. That is experimental, so I'm calling it for extra credit, for 2 extra credit points on your final participation grade. I think you can do that at any time. I need to make a note to myself to check it. And make sure that it's ready to go, but I believe it is. So it's not going to really count off if you can't do it. But what I was going to say is after the paper and these assignments, we're pretty much done. So you can kind of concentrate on your other courses. And I have a mod term class that's finishing up as well. So it's going to be a busy time anyway, but I thought, well, let's accelerate things. And but today I was just going to talk a little bit about, let's see, on the Chapter 18, we're covering 18 and 19. I wanted you all to look at this one. This is a young lawyer here. And there's Rebecca. Thank you for coming. And of course, I've jumped around in the slides, but this is slide 14 of Chapter 18. I found this graphic because I thought it represented the way the world really is. You are a young lawyer. You've been in law school for 3 years, and maybe you've had a history degree or a business degree or something, but you really you haven't really studied pricing strategies. So these little thought clouds of hers are things that everybody who's in business goes through, thinking, what am I really worth? How do I tell what they will pay? So, there's lots of ways to calculate what you should charge. Oh, I'm sorry. Nothing like hitting the key when you don't mean to. This is pretty much what is used a lot. We're just meeting the competition. It's in line with others. And if you find out they're not, do something about it. My clients will never pay that much. Well, that's kind of a self-defeating thing. Sometimes you actually are worth more than the competition. What if they say no? Everybody has this fear. It's the same with everybody. I'm afraid of what the client will think. There's too much time on the clock. We better write some off. That's one. Whether you're in advertising, marketing, or legal practice, you start discounting, and you really, you need to kind of think about it. And it all goes into, if somebody's going to ask for a firm bid on a particular project, sometimes changes have been requested that cause it to run up the budget there. Or sometimes you might say, oh, that's going to be pretty easy. I can get that done really fast. And so, but this is, I thought that was pretty interesting. I'm going to go over to slide 27 for the next thing. Because the other significant thing in this in this chapter is talking about pricing and some calculations where here we're finishing up on cost plus pricing. It's just like, say, our markup is this. A lot of times in retail, they'll add, maybe double the price or something like that. And I think we talked earlier in retail chapter about the keystone markup in retail. When you're talking to a retailer, you might say, what's the markup on this item? And instead of saying 100%, the retailer will probably say, well, it's about a 50% markup, meaning 50% of the final cost is markup. Instead of saying we took our cost and doubled it and made it 100% markup. So that's an important thing. If you're talking to anybody in retail about a job, they're going to want you to know that. So here is some formulas in math. I guess if we had a whiteboard, we could go over it. But this is slide 26 on the chapter 18 slides, and to determine your break-even point. But I wanted also to give you another little thing that's even quicker. What this is from this chart right here is from the textbook, but very important that we all understand where that break-even point is, because we can make more units. We can lower the cost of each unit. So you got your fixed costs and variable costs. This is pretty basic business stuff. I think maybe in some of your other classes, I'm pretty sure you've had break-even analysis. But then, as you can see here, your profits will increase as your units go up, and other things the same. There's a solution to the product. Now let's see. I wanted to show you the break-even tool. Now, also, this is the only place that I have it actually appearing. So it's down here in the lower left. This is a link that goes to, it'll open a web browser, and you're going to the Harvard Business School publishing website. And it's a very handy thing. You can just, if you decide to start a business, you could use this and play what if, which is going to be good. But it will give you kind of, here are notes on the overview of what we're doing here, and showing that, various effects of things there. And then the sample problem we're going to be producing some pliers here, basically, and basically coming from, ground zero. We're just buying some machines to process some raw materials, and then we're going to actually make these pliers. So the metal molding machine, $100,000, plastic grip molder, $25,000, and sander for $5,000. So, and then the variable costs for each unit that we produce: packaging $1, raw material $1, grip material 50 cents, and shipping 50 cents. So here's what marketing says. They think they can sell these pliers for $15 per unit. It must be pretty good. And they also project that they will average 1,200 units in a month. So then you go back up here to the tool itself. So here are the numbers that we just saw kind of plugged into the tool here. And this is dynamic on the right. So showing us that we only need 167 units to sell to break even, and there's the revenue. But let's say if we do something else, let's go back and look at some of that there and say that's a little low on the packaging material. I'd like a little bit nicer package, so let's spend $1.50, and so that's going to be going into the variable costs, right? Because it's under that heading. So that's going to, let's see that. So we're just adding that, 50 cents more than there. And did you see the green line move a little bit there? So, let's also find out, let's say, well, $100,000 is a very nice round number for a metal molding machine. But guess what? We found out there's a company going out of business, and we could get it at $85,000. So let's see where we. Yeah, let's see. I'm going to have to calculate a little bit there, because that's they are right now. So the total are 130 divided by 1,200. Well, let's go. If our fixed costs, if we can, I'm not sure how we get there, but if we say we're gonna take our fixed costs and lower that to about 13.5. And it changes everything. So I just wanted you all to see that without spending a whole bunch of time on it, or going through each step of the math. So you could see that, and you might go into the slides and make a note of where that is, maybe make a bookmark of it. Okay, I'm going to go over into chapter 19, just to give you, going in here, slide 11, I thought, okay, here's slide 11. These are different discounts, and the question I had put in the email to you all is something to think about in terms of in your everyday lives, how things work. But different kind of discounts. There were some that were mentioned before this one and after, but a trade discount. Here's one that's a cash discount. You see this on the interstate, and gas is still lower than it's showing there. That's a good thing. But the quantity discount, there's several kinds. Cumulative, like over, how much you're going to buy from us this year. And if you do buy that amount from us this year, then you will qualify for this discount of 15%. However, if you don't, then you're probably not going to get it next year, or you may have to come back and recapture some of that. That's all subject to negotiation. But a non-cumulative quantity discount would be a one-time only basis there. Here is an example of a cumulative quantity discount. This is from hotels.com. So as you can see, they're just saying, hey, use us for one more night, and you'll get a night free. So that's because we had apparently stayed and earned those many nights there. So, and a one-time only would be something like Sears having a big sale there, and a good time to buy is, if you kind of watch it, good time to buy appliances sometimes is in October and maybe January, February, but those are typically on a one-time only basis. So let's see, 13, a little bit of allowances, say promotional allowance. You run into this with cars sometimes. You have a minimum advertised price, which is referred to as the MAP. The graphic I put in here is to show, say, these items you might be buying online, and when you see this on Amazon, it's saying put this in your shopping cart in order to see the price, and it is tolerated by companies like Apple and Sony and so forth. I guess it's kind of an odd thing, but it's a way around some agreements that the retailer signed with the retailer, that's just saying we're not going to reveal that price. We're not going to advertise it. So they're saying, well, the customer asked for the price, so we're not advertising the price. It's kind of a little dance that they do, but I thought that was pretty interesting. And then pricing, does it include freight? There's all kinds of things to do there. So delivered pricing, let's see, Amazon has Prime, of course, that's been a tremendous advantage to them. And zoned pricing to kind of put the cost of freight in there and make it easier to calculate. Okay, and psychological pricing, Walmart uses that, and a lot of times people say $9.99 sounds less than $10, but Walmart, uses the 9.7 figure. They just want to be a little lower as well. And in most supermarkets, you can look in one of the corners of the tag that's on the shelf, and it'll talk about what is the cost per ounce. So it's a good way to compare pricing as well. One thing I've never quite understood is we have a grocery chain here, Cost Saver, I think, and they advertise all these great prices, but then in a little type underneath it says plus 10% at the checkout counter, which is fairly easy to figure in your head. So you could compare, but maybe when you're in the store, you don't think about that. I don't know. But okay, and variable pricing. I put this graphic in to remind us to talk about, say, something Amazon does. And noticed this a few years ago, but sometimes if you're shopping on something and you kind of look at it and you go, well, I'm going to shop around a little bit more. Well, the next time you go to that website, it might be Amazon or somewhere else, you might find that the price has changed on it. It might be a little bit better price. So it's an interesting way they operate there. And let's see. What else did I want? Oh, yeah, this is, HP, which makes computers we use at McMurray mostly. They were watching Apple, and this is something that they came along and after Apple. So because you think about HP and a lot of the clone computer makers that were able to beat Apple on pricing, but Apple said, okay, we're gonna have a really sleek computer that's kind of sexy and polished aluminum and all that stuff. It's going to look better. Of course, we're going to charge more for it. Well, HP began to say, okay, we're going to start a whole new line of computers that is just nicer. Finishes are a lot nicer, and maybe it has better specs on it than our others. But so if somebody's interested in the bottom line, really low price, they can get that from us. But if somebody's interested in top rated style, then they can get that from us also. So it's a way, that's an example of going by a product line. It's completely different from everything else. So and of course promotional pricing can be temporary. Having a big sale and all that. Loss leader is something that the retailer often is actually losing money on, but there are some regulations about that. You can't do something that's kind of geared at driving the other guy, making them lose money. So, and always think about the relationships between pricing and quality. Now, I had put a question in there, and why don't we see if somebody wants to answer it? Because I will go. I'll read it here. I mean, basically, what I was asking was, think about all the retail stores where you go shop, online stores, restaurants. What comes into your mind as far as a strategy that makes sense for you, that you like? So somebody want to take that? I know Rebecca has something in her mind. I can tell. But we need to unmute you, so I will do that. So, uh, okay. She's thinking about a store or something like that.
Sorry. I was trying to find the charger.
That's fine.
I was finding the charger. I guess, okay, right now especially, there's a lot of baby stores that are having their sales for summer. They've got their 70% off and everything, and then they go into, you can get this additional amount for clearance items, but I don't really know.
Yeah. Okay. So you would go, maybe a combination of buying some things at full price that are seasonal, and then we're going to give you these other items, as well. There's bundling types of things like that.
Yes.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things, that creative ways that retailers, restaurants can just plant the idea that you might, we're having a special, two hamburgers. I mean, Sonic and the others do this all the time for one. So, and Whataburger. So anybody else think of something?
Shoe stores do that too, like buy one get one free and stuff, or buy two get one free and stuff like that.
Well, thank you. Yes, and we tried out that Skechers outlet on Winters Freeway a couple of weeks ago for the first time, and just to see, because there's been most of the stores that have been there have been temporary in nature. I wanted to see if they were kind of serious about staying around, and they have a buy one, the next pair you buy is 50% off. So that was pretty good. So that's exactly what you're talking about. And we wound up doing that. We bought 4 pair of shoes, not really intending to that day, but that was great. So, okay, anybody else got another? Can you think about a lost leader, something that they used something that is obviously just a ridiculously good deal. We don't see those that much anymore, but it would get people's attention. It always does that. So, all right. Well, okay, y'all. I appreciate y'all being here, and we recorded this for those who aren't here, and this will be the last one. So I've enjoyed having you. I hope to get the papers graded. It's going to probably it'll go into the weekend, I'm pretty sure. But they look good from what I've seen so far, and they usually are. People usually do. I told somebody today that I think people usually make A's and B's on the paper, so it generally helps. And so I would look forward to that. And okay, anybody got any other question at this point?
What about the participation grade? Like, how do we know? Because I know in your email you said something about we start at a B.
Yeah, it's going to be a higher grade because I'll be very frank. I just never have been able to figure out how to enforce that, and so it's probably going to be a higher grade. But if I will know that you have been to some of the video chats, and that will be reflected in your grade.
Okay.
It's going to be a little more subjective than the other method, but generally they'll be pretty good. I mean, now if there are people that if they're people that we really hardly have ever seen, then they might not get a good grade in participation. But I do appreciate all the appreciation, the participation, and hope everybody has a good end of the semester. And don't hesitate to email me if you have any other questions. So.
Okay, thank
In
you.
the meantime, yeah, it was a howling rainstorm when I came out here to my office, but looks like it's calmed down. So everybody have a good, quiet evening. All right. Well, all right. There's
Thank you,
Bryson.
you too.
And well, Bryson, we're ending the meeting. So, but I will go ahead and we've got it recorded, so I'll be loading it up later tonight. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Everybody, take care.
You too.